Hey YouTube, Jack here with another video on my low carb journey, keto journey, whatever you want to call it. And first off, so that we get it out of the way, weight loss over the day. It's pretty meaningless. I weighed in this morning at 224.4, which is 4/10 of a pound. That can be body weight fluctuations, taking a bigger pee, whatever. So, but again, remember, you can minimize those for your weigh-ins by weighing in at the, move the microphone a little closer, by weighing in at the exact same situation, same time every day. I always weigh in after I use the bathroom in the morning, in a t-shirt and shorts, no shoes. And so if you always do that and you have an accurate scale, that about a half a pound there, a little less than half a pound, is probably pretty accurate. And on how much weight I'm losing, which is around 2 to 3 pounds a week right now after the first big purge that you always get in the beginning, it's probably about right. It really is. I weigh myself every day. I have my people on my 40-day keto challenge weighing themselves every day. The biggest reason I suggest doing that is it's a form of accountability. If you go up a pound in a day, it doesn't matter. What you need to be looking at is how much you move over about a 10-day spread. That is going to give you the most accurate way to analyze what you're losing per day on average. Because if it's 10, it's really easy to do the math there. That's why they use the metric system everywhere except here in the United States, because it's all increments of 10. So figuring out if you lost 5 pounds in 10 days, that you're losing a half pound a day is a real simple math. Even I can do that. Even a Common Core math student can do that. So that's why we do that. So you don't have to get overburdened with the daily thing. But I just think, again, the more accountability you have, the more when you're tempted to do something you're not supposed to do, and we're going to talk about that today in our pitfalls and tips segment, then you're more likely not to. The fact that I got to get on the air with you guys every day and say hello to you and tell you where I'm at and what I did or didn't do makes me accountable. And it's why I started doing these videos. And things seem to be working out well. I do have the hat back. My awesome wife, I got hat head, so it's got to stay on. My awesome wife ran down to the Benbrook area and got my hat back for me yesterday because she's an awesome wife. All right, so with that, if you are doing my 40-day keto challenge and you've sent me an email, by now you should have received 2 emails back from me, and you should have received 1 email that gave you a place to go subscribe to an email list, because all future emails are going to come from that list. If you want into that challenge, I am going to close it like rock solid, not let anybody else in at the end of this weekend. I can't keep adding people to it. Right now, I think I have 28 people in my spreadsheet, and I'm waiting on a good 12 to 14 more to give me their first round of numbers and what have you. So if you want to do that, you need to email me, jack@thesurvivalpodcast.com. With TSPC Keto in the subject line. And since you might be listening to this in the future, I'm recording this on the 19th of September, which means, let's say if you listen to it on anything past the 22nd of September, I'm going to put out a link today to where you can subscribe to the list that I send my people on, but I can't make you part of the official tracked group. It'll get too complicated if I got too many people off synced. So if you've emailed me and you ain't heard back, something's wrong. You need to email me again. Okay, I'm just going to say that so that you can get in the official counted group. All right, now let's talk about today's subject today. I got a twofer for you. I got 5, count them, 5 keto myths, and I got 5 things to think about to stay motivated. Let's try to move fast so it's not another 30-minute long one like yesterday was. Number 1, the first keto myth that I hear all the time, and this is just bullshit. And we've talked about it before, but it bears repeating again, especially some people might find this video that haven't seen the other ones. You can eat all you want as long as you stay under 20 carbs or 25 carbs or whatever program you're on. In a word, bullshit. It's total, complete bullshit. You cannot go scarfing down 5,000 calories, burn 2,500, and lose weight. You can't even maintain weight if you're that far off. The energy dynamic equation has been oversold to America, there is no doubt. But if you want to lose weight at a significant rate, you need to be in a caloric deficit. You are not going to lose weight unless you are in a caloric deficit. And this whole myth started with Dr. Atkins. That's the source of this. And people, when they hear something they like, they repeat it and they add it on to the next thing. So even though Atkins is way back in the 70s and early 80s, this myth has stayed with us. Let me tell you where Dr. Atkins drew this conclusion from, and you'll see real quickly how flawed it is. Anybody with any logic will be like, no, that doesn't work. Again, the book called The Glycation Factor from Dr. Greg Ellis, the last chapter is pretty much dedicated to destroying some of the myths that came from the Atkins diet and have been carried forward into low-carb eating. What Atkins used was a study that showed that women eating a 1,000-calorie diet lost weight. That was his justification. But one group on 1,000 calories ate a carbohydrate-based diet, and the other ate a low-carbohydrate diet. And what he said was, well, the women that ate the low-carbohydrate diet lost more weight. But again, they were on a 1,000-calorie diet. Additionally, he did the math, and they had determined in the study that women of the type that were in the study would not have lost weight exceeding 2,000 calories. So when he did the reverse math, kind of like a reverse Fourier factor, right, for those of you that are switched on to mathematics, he determined that they lost more weight than would be indicated if you accepted the fact that they could not lose weight at 2,000 calories. If that is hard to follow, it's because it's stupid and it's bullshit and it's nonsense. Calories do matter. Now, if you only count calories and you're eating high sugar and your metabolic rate goes to shit, it may not work because you may not be burning as many calories as the calculator tells you are. But if you actually want to lose weight, you need to look at a minimum caloric deficit of 15%, and I've been running 25. That's, if you want results like me, that's kind of where you have to go. Especially ladies. I'm sorry that it's harder for you, but it just is. It's the way biology works. So 20 to 25% caloric deficit, and you're going to lose weight no matter what you do. But if you do it on keto, you don't suffer. And if you do that in a combination with doing 2 meals a day, which by default equals intermittent fasting, right? And the later you wait to eat the first meal, the more intermittent fasting you're doing, you're going to lose weight. 20% is fine. 15% is fine. But if you're only, operating at a 5% deficit, once you get the first big drop, it's going to slow down and stall and be very, very, very slow. 15 to 25%, somewhere in there. 25 is tough. How bad do you want it? But 20%, and it'll fall off a couple, 3 pounds a week, easy. And if you're eating the fat ratio you're supposed to, once you get used to it, you're not going to be hungry. Next, another myth is keto is fiber deficient. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, certainly if you go carnivore and you don't somehow supplement fiber, you could be fiber deficient. But if you're doing a true ketogenic diet, the way that like 99% of people that actually do keto, you're eating more salad than the average person. You're eating more salad in a day than the average person eats over 5 days. And mostly what you're eating is leafy greens. There's more fiber. Like people, you don't eat bread, you don't get your fiber. Really? Read the back of a freaking bread bag. There isn't jack shit for fiber, even in whole wheat bread, compared to how much fiber is in a good salad and good cruciferous vegetables and vegetables that we eat on keto, like celery and broccoli and green beans and stuff like that. So just bullshit. It is not fiber deficient unless you go out of your way to make it. Next, net carbs is invalid. This is a stupid argument and it ignores science. I'm sorry. People say that net carbs are bullshit, whatever. One guy that I'm really good friends with, he's a diabetic. And that just means all his readings are not subject to the norm in the first place. This guy admits that sometimes when he wakes up in the morning, just from a liver dump, his sugar goes up before he eats anything. Then he wants to tell me if he turns around and eats something with a lot of fiber in it, his sugars go up more than he thinks they should. And this is proof that net carbs are bullshit. No, that's bullshit, and it's completely unscientific. If you want to do to test the effect of fiber on blood sugar in the way that people eat, you would have to have a control group that worked like this. The one group, they would have to be very similar people, similar weights, similar metabolic rates, etc. They would have to eat meals that were almost the same number of calories, okay? And the only variation in them would be the fiber content of the meals. And so that one would be a net carb that would be almost fiber-free, okay? So that we would be getting a strict carbohydrate control, so like protein and maybe some artificial sugar source or something that pushed the carbohydrate load to the net carb of the people with the freaking fiber, okay? And then if you compared the insulin and blood sugar response to those two in a controlled environment, then you'd be able to see what fiber does. Now, if you want to do that, you can do it, but the way we know that fiber doesn't get digested and it doesn't make your blood sugar go up, and if anything, soluble fiber slows the absorption of the absorbable carbohydrates into the bloodstream, is they already did this. This has already been done 1,000 times in labs. This is, yes, I don't trust big food, and I don't trust a lot of studies that are designed to create a result that people want, but when these results were derived, no one really had an agenda with it. This was just basically, how does this shit work? If you go to Europe and you look at a food label, that you don't have to calculate net carbs because you get protein, carbs, fat, and fiber. And unlike in America where you got to go in and manually delete or reduce the carbs by the fiber, they only give you net carbs because they accept this scientific reality. Now, there is a net carb scam out there where people say, well, it's zero net carbs because it's a sugar alcohol or something. I really encourage you to check out Keto Connect's video where they checked the sugar, artificial sweeteners, and the insulin response there. The way they did that is valid, and it's been repeated. That's the other thing. Things have to be repeatable by a bunch of other people, and they've gotten very similar results. Some of the so-called sugar alcohols that are zero net carbs is bullshit. They will jack up your blood sugar. Excuse me. Some don't. Some that get a really bad rap don't, but maybe they're not the best thing for you. Sucralose does not change your blood sugar at all. It may not be the best thing for your digestive system. Oh, excuse me. Let me get a sip of tea here. Stevia doesn't do jack diddly crap. And somebody said something yesterday about only one brand of stevia is truly negative. No, if it's only stevia, it's only stevia. If it has other things in it, it's not just stevia. Read labels and learn to understand them. Next, keto is not sustainable as a way of eating. I look at the meals that I'm eating right now compared to the meals that most people eat when they're on a so-called diet, and my question is, what planet exactly do you get your bullshit from? You know, yesterday for breakfast, I had a big, beautiful bowl of salad. I had wonderful cheese on it. I took and cooked a habanero and green habanero chicken sausage, cut it in half, cooked it browned, cut it up in pieces, put it on top of that salad. I had pecans in that salad. I cooked 4 pieces of bacon. I made an open-faced, sunny-side-up egg on top of that salad, using a lot of the hacks that I talked about yesterday, Parmesan crisp and all. What the hell is not sustainable about eating that? The people that say it's not sustainable, they don't even know what it is. They've never actually eaten a ketogenic meal in their lives. They think it's freaking, I don't know, pork rinds and freaking beef jerky or something. By the way, there's more carbs in beef jerky than you can afford to have. If you think beef jerky is a snack or a meal when you're on keto and you're buying your beef jerky from the store, you are kidding yourself. Check the back of that. That serving size and the number of carbs in it is for 1 ounce. In a 5-ounce bag of beef jerky, there are more carbohydrates than there is in a can of Coca-Cola. Actually, there's 1 carbohydrate less than a can of Coca-Cola. And there's about 3 times the calories. I don't know what planet people get their bullshit from, but there are people that have been living pretty much ketogenically for 5 to 10 years now. So that's pretty sustainable. It sure seems a hell of a lot more sustainable than Jenny Craig and getting your shit shipped to you in a box and being told what apple to go buy. It sure seems a hell of a lot more sustainable than Weight Watchers. I've never known anybody that made Weight Watchers more than 6 weeks. So just check your bullshit at the door. I don't know what planet you get your bullshit from, but the way I'm eating now, I have no problem eating sustainably that way. It's just stupid. Next is, most of your weight loss on keto is just water. It's one of those things that, you know, it has a bearing in fact and then complete divorce from reality. So in your first 5 to 10 days, the majority of your weight loss is water. But how much freaking water do you think a human body has in it that's available to be discharged? I have lost 22.6 pounds. Do you understand how much water that would be if it was mostly water? Let's say the first 6 pounds. Let's say the first 8 pounds. That's still like 15 pounds of fat in 40 days. Wow, I'm at my 40 day. So you guys on the 40-day challenge, this is what you have to look forward to in 40 days if you keep it up. So let's move from there. Again, it's just number 5 is just bullshit. I mean, it's bullshit. It's mostly water. Not if you keep doing it, stupid. Now, let's go on. Staying motivated. I'm going to move fast on these. I want you to stay motivated, especially you guys in my challenge. Number 1, only you can save your life. Some of you guys on my challenge, you know, you want to lose 5-10 pounds and look a little better and then maybe tune up your hormones a bit. Okay, great. But some of the folks that have, I'm like, oh my God, thank God you're doing this. I look at your body fat percentage, your weight, and your measurements, and I'm not saying anybody by name. I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I'm like, you know, either you're going to save your life doing this or you're going to die. Right? And that's the place I got to. And I wasn't as bad as some of y'all. I'm still like, I am not going to make 60 years of age if I don't do something about this. My wife and I were talking about cheating last night. I said, there is nothing in the world that tastes good enough for me to compromise my health while I'm getting these results. You make a determination that you are more important than a piece of bread, or you're more important than a piece of cake, or you're more important than having 5 drinks on Friday night, and you actually follow the plan will work, and you will lose the weight, and your body will repair itself. It's that simple, and only you can do it. Number 2, once you get past the heavy weight loss that comes early on, people get demotivated when they start losing, 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds a week. Well, let's go on the narrow side of that. 1.5 pounds a week in 6 months is 39 pounds. And I don't know, maybe people are just in the microwave generation. We expect everything to be instantaneous, but it took you probably a hell of a lot longer than 6 months to put 39 of those pounds on you want to get rid of. 6 months to get rid of them? It's not that big a deal. So when you're getting that 1 pound to 2 pounds a week, don't get demotivated by that. That is incredibly motivating. That's why be careful on the daily weigh-in. You need to look at your weight over 7 to 10 days. And if you're losing a pound even a pound every 10 days, so what? It takes longer. All you really got to do is just keep doing it. Next, your new life, which is reclaiming the old life you had before this all happened to you, it's your birthright. You have a right to feel good. You have a right to be healthy. But like most rights, no one can grant you rights. No one can give you rights. In fact, the only thing people are about protecting your rights. Well, all somebody can actually do can't protect your right. They can protect your ability to exercise your right. You have to do it. Just like some of you guys are really big fans of the Second Amendment, and you know that your right to own a gun doesn't mean nothing if you don't go out and own a gun and do it so responsibly, right? That if you any right you can think of, your right to free speech doesn't mean nothing unless you speak up and say what you think. Well, your right to be healthy doesn't mean nothing unless you act on it. So it's your right. So stand up like a damn warrior and seize it, because it's your right. Next, all you really have to do to make all of this happen is simple mathematics and eat awesome food. You can do the most simple math, and there's a damn program on your phone that'll do the math for you. All you have to do is pay attention, stick numbers in, obey the system, and it'll work, and you will be healthier and happier, and you'll probably live longer. So if you can't do simple math and eat awesome food, I don't know what the hell else can be expected. If that's not motivating, I don't know how much more motivating it can be that you can have everything that you've wanted for yourself. You can have your health back, you can have your life back, you can live longer, you can be there longer for your family and your friends. If you'll do fucking math and eat good food, back when I did the episode about treating it like cancer, if you had cancer and you were going to die next year, you had 12 months to live, but your doctor said, you know what, if you'll do math and eat good food, the cancer will go away, you'd shut up and do it. Well, it don't matter if you die of cancer or die because your heart goes, right? It doesn't matter. You're still dead. It's the same thing. So if you'll do simple math and eat good food, that's about as motivating as it could be. And last but not least, a lot of Americans are really, really fat and really, really overweight and have metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, etc. And many of them are victims. And they're victims because they believed the bullshit that the government and industry told them, that it was okay to eat the garbage that they're feeding themselves on. Because they believed when they were taught in grade school, hey, you should have a diet based on grain, like a cow, like a pig. And then when you look like a cow or you look like a pig, well, duh, you ate. If you look at the food pyramid, okay, and you look at the back of a bag that you feed to a pig to make it fat so that you can sell it to market at 9 months and have a nice fat pig to make bacon out of, the makeup of the food pyramid and that bag of feed is the same. So you are a victim of that system, but you ain't no more. No, you are not a victim anymore because now you know. You're no longer a victim. Say to yourself, I'm not a victim anymore. And that means you don't get to act like one. You don't get to make excuses anymore. So that's as motivating as I can be. Only you can save your life. 1.5 pounds a week is 39 pounds in 6 months. Your new life is your birthright, but you got to fight for it. In doing so, all you really have to do is math and eat good food, and you ain't a victim no more. If that ain't enough, I don't know what is. Remember, the answer to and cause of your problems is in your bathroom. There's a big mirror in there. Go look at that person. Whenever you're having a conflict with what you need to do, go tell that person to shut up and eat right. And then on the floor is a scale. It's your friend or your enemy. Turn it into your friend. It ain't that hard. Do math and eat great food.